Alright, gonna make a quick video on putting the seat belts in to convert from a 2-man to a 4-man. You gotta buy this kit. This kit will come with the seat belt, all the bolts, the hardware, the pedestal, and the actual seat belt mechanism. I did this side already, the other side is not done. Alright, over here on the other side, this is the way mine looked. Obviously there weren't seats, I mounted these seats. You could also have the other style that just has the square pad and the square pad on the back with the blank panel for the floor. So first thing you got to do in my case is I've got to get this bolt out because that tower sits at an angle. So it's these two plugs you got to pull out and these two holes are utilized. So take that bolt out. Alright, that bolt's out. I gotta pop these two plugs out. Alright, so these are the 4 holes that this will utilize. So it's kind of at an angle, it's not straight. You're not using that one for this. So I bolted this down before I put the seatbelt mechanism on, just because with that seatbelt mechanism it's kind of blocking you on those. So on these, everything for brackets are going to be gold. Everything for the actual seat belts are silver. So anything that attaches to the seat belts are the silver bolts. So if you notice in your kit, there's 2 shorter ones, 2 longer ones. Longer ones go towards the front, shorter ones go towards the rear, because there's more aluminum stacked up right here and there's less back here. One thing to note, the kit comes with those 2 brackets. You need to make sure where these 2 bolts are underneath, you need to make sure, see the 2 holes, there's this bracket. That's what those gold brackets are. I think most of these came with the brackets already installed, but if you have a different model or whatever, you might not have those brackets. You need to put that bracket in to distribute the load of the seat belt across this. So again, I'm looking up at the 2 rear holes, and that's what those brackets are. Mine already had them, so I do not have to mess with those 2 brackets. Make sure they're there, because you get an accident, these bolts will just tear right out. So got to make sure that they're there. There is some rivets that hold that in, so if you don't have it, there's a packet of rivets that come in the kit to attach that up, but double check you have that. Alright, got these 4 bolts in. Make sure you put a washer on each side. These are the nuts, and they are crimped at the top, so you can only thread them on a couple threads and then they'll stop, because they're a crimp style lock nut. And then I put this in. There is an alignment pin that goes through, and then the shortest of the gold bolts goes on the bottom. Again, washer on each side, lock nut. There's a 2-pack that has these short ones that goes there. And then the next step is going to be to attach this guy up here, there is a washer that goes between. So you're gonna have that guy up there, then a washer. There's a thicker washer, and of course I dropped a washer, and then so it's gonna live like that, so this can freely spin when it's all tightened together. I'm gonna pick up that other washer and tighten that down. Alright, so that's bolted in there. Like I said, make sure the washer's under. If you don't have that washer underneath, this bolt will start to kind of tighten into this aluminum housing, and then this won't freely swivel. Down here, there's a bolt at the bottom. And that is the one that has the least amount of shoulder to it. So that has the least. That's the medium shoulder. The one with the biggest shoulder goes over here for the latch. And so make sure you put it facing the right way. So it goes bolt in, washer on the inside. There's already a threaded hole down here. It's going to be probably a little tricky to get it going because it's probably full of sand and dirt and a bunch of crud from years of not having anything in it. It's just a 5/8, and you run that down all the way. That'll just bottom out, and then this will still be able to freely move once that's tightened down. And that's pretty much it for the seatbelt portion. If you are completely converting it to 4-man, the other things you're going to need are the door hinge brackets, the limiter straps, and the latch catches, and then obviously doors. But luckily everything's already there for everything to convert them. That is the nice thing about Humvees, is they are basically built to be any platform. It's all the same tub, so everything should be tapped and drilled and ready to go. This head, the bulkhead for the truck that was in it, I took that out. That's why the plywood's short, because it was a 2-man. So I'm going to get the other piece of plywood, or I'll probably just make one, put it back here. Obviously I got a fuel sending unit or screen at some point. And then the other thing to convert it is you're going to need the rear post. So the posts are pretty expensive. Luckily I found a guy selling one. So this has to have this shape in it because the door will close into that groove, and that's what seals it. You'll need the 2 hoops, and then you'll need the track that runs along here that the roof will snap to, and the doors will close into it, and that'll seal that portion. And then basically you got it converted from a 2-man to a 4-man. These are the 2 holes that top goes into, and some of them have a bracket that come down this way and piggyback off of the door latch brackets. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell, putting the seat belts in. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.